Awareness is the courage to discover that you may not be who you thought you were. I have been thinking about how much of our identity can be built around stories we stopped questioning a long time ago. Stories such as, I am the responsible one, I am the strong one, I am the independent one, I am the one who always figures things out, I am just an emotional person, I am a perfectionist, I work better under pressure. We say these things so often that eventually they stop sounding like descriptions and start sounding like facts. But awareness has a way of making familiar identities feel strangely uncomfortable. You might discover that what you called strength was sometimes an inability to ask for help. What you called independence was sometimes fear of depending on anyone. What you called high standards was sometimes perfectionism protecting you from the possibility of being judged. What you called being easygoing was sometimes a habit of suppressing your preferences so you wouldn't create conflict. And this can be one of the most humbling parts of becoming aware. You begin discovering the difference between who you are and who you learned to become. I think about the person who spends 20 years being exceptionally successful. They achieve the promotions, they become respected, they become the person everyone can depend on. From the outside, everything looks wonderful. And then one day, perhaps quietly, they realize I don't actually know what I want anymore. Not because they failed, but because they became so good at fulfilling expectations that they stopped listening for their own desires. That realization can be frightening because sometimes the identity that needs to be questioned is the identity that brought us the most praise. And this is why awareness isn't always comfortable. Sometimes, awareness doesn't simply reveal our wounds, it reveals our attachments to identities that no longer fit. Perhaps becoming wiser means becoming willing to say, I may have been very good at being this person, but does this person still represent who I am becoming? That question can change your life. It can change a life because there is a difference between abandoning yourself and allowing yourself to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow the version of you that once kept you safe. You are allowed to discover that something you once wanted no longer matters. You are allowed to become softer after years of being strong. You are allowed to become more discerning after years of being endlessly available. You are allowed to want a quieter life after spending years chasing impressive things. Awareness gives you permission to meet yourself again, not the version constructed from expectation, not the version built entirely around survival, not even the version built around past success, but the person underneath all of that. And perhaps wisdom is partly the ability to keep meeting yourself honestly as you change. That is the message for today, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope the message lands safely with you. I hope it transforms your life. If you are interested in joining the Sovereign Feminine Collective, link to join the community will be in the description box below. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, stay feminine, stay grounded, stay confident, stay abundant, and keep blooming. May you always believe in yourself. I love you all so much, and I am rooting for you. Mwah. Bye.